We're going to be tracking multiple winter storms in late January and early February that could bring heavy snow, ice, and some severe weather to parts of the United States. And we're going to be breaking down this forecast with you step by step all the way through early February. And if you are new here, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Hey, not a bad time to subscribe so you get the accurate, detailed weather breakdowns. Follow along with all of them right here on the channel, weather on the go. I definitely appreciate it. So let's look here at our temperature anomalies heading into the weekend, because we're going to see a moderating trend with our temperatures. And you can see as we move the needle all the way to Saturday, we see some milder temperatures taking note, but you do also see some below normal temperatures here in the blue and the green shaded colors. This is where we expect a little bit of some cooler air to stick around as we go into Saturday. And you notice as we go into Sunday as well, you can see a little bit of blue here. Those are below normal temperatures. The orange and reds, those are above normal temperatures. And you can see there's kind of a mix of both here. So the takeaway from this, temperatures will, yes, be moderating, but we're not going to be seeing a big Arctic plunge like we just got out of a few days ago. Let's look here at our height anomalies. And basically, just to show you this, we have a ridge of high pressure here anywhere you see these reds and pinks. And you can see a big ridge of high pressure up here toward the Aleutian Islands and into Western Canada that's forcing a low pressure system. It's a cutoff low pressure to develop here in California. And that's some great news because we need moisture down here. And we're finally going to get some as we head into the weekend. So let's walk you through it. As we go into Saturday morning, we're mostly dry here in California. And then as we go into the afternoon here on Saturday, notice how we begin to see some moisture. It's light moisture, but it's moisture nonetheless. You can see near the coast there of Southern California, we're seeing a little bit of light rain showers and some drizzle. And then in the foothills and the higher elevations of the Sierra Mountains, we are actually seeing some snowfall with the colder air. Now, as we go deeper into the day on Saturday, but especially Saturday night, look at the precipitation starting to fill in here. You have the heavier snows in the central southern Sierra Mountains, and then in the lower elevations, especially in those valleys, we're going to be seeing more of the rain shower activity, and then that will translate as we go into through the day on Sunday and really stick around through the weekend. So we're really looking at later Saturday, especially Saturday night, and then in through the day on Sunday for moisture opportunities here in California. And it could be adding up really across much of the West, but California, we really need the moisture. And some of these areas could be seeing anywhere from around a half an inch upwards to an inch of rain. And that may be generous on some of the models here, not really taking into account the drought conditions. But nonetheless, we are definitely keeping an eye on some moisture uptrends here in California. And even outside of that, Nevada, Utah, and Colorado, a lot of this will probably be snowfall. But you get the idea. We're going to see some moisture here across the desert Southwest. Looking at that, again, we're going to be seeing some heavy snows, higher elevations, could be getting 8 to 12 inches of snow here in the pinks across portions of the Sierras, and then across Nevada, Utah, into Colorado, Wyoming, and Montana, Idaho as well. Could be getting some lighter to moderate pockets of snow here. The heaviest outside of California will really be southern Wyoming and northern Colorado, outside of Denver there, getting some pretty heavy snowfall through the weekend. Now let's walk you through the rest of the United States weather pattern this weekend, because it's going to be active to the north too. Our main jet stream piece is across southern Canada and the Great Lakes, and this is going to bring more lake effect snow to the Great Lakes, but also a clipper system as we go into the day on Saturday. Notice it's bringing lighter snow mainly to Ontario, Canada, but also to parts of northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, and the upper peninsula of Michigan there. Note this is light snow. We're not talking about a blockbuster snowstorm by any means, but definitely getting some snowfall that'll continue into Sunday. Sunday, it starts to stretch over here toward portions of the Northeast, upstate New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and northern Maine, and then into Quebec with our clipper system. And note there's another clipper system right on its heels back into the northern parts of Manitoba and northern Ontario. That could move over Hudson Bay into early next week. Looking at the precipitation amounts here, we're looking at particularly, some isolated areas, right? We're not really looking at any major snow widespread across the Great Lakes, but isolated areas here in the upper peninsula of Michigan, northwestern lower Michigan here, northwest Pennsylvania, western New York State, or even upstate New York. We're looking at anywhere from around 6 to 10 inches in the heaviest bands of snow over the weekend here and going into early next week. Let's look at the pattern as we go into next week. Very interesting. The main flow in the jet stream is all the way up to the north in Canada. We got a ridge of high pressure here promoting milder temperatures across the majority of the central and the eastern U.S. behind our cold air. And then we got a cutoff low pressure down here that's producing some precipitation this weekend in Southern California. That's going to kick out. And how fast does it kick out is the question. Does it move quicker across Arizona, New Mexico, or does it slow down and really dump a lot of moisture down here? That is the million-dollar question here. And let's look at the European model with what we see for the potential as we go into next week. So Monday, we got some liquid rainfall down here near the Gulf of Mexico. That's in green. The blue is snow, and you can see we start to see more snow in Arizona. And then as we go into Tuesday, you can barely see it. Blink your eye, you miss it. And across the four corners, we see some lighter snow in the mountain areas. Then as we go into Wednesday, we continue to see the potential for this to really develop there in New Mexico. Rainfall, really kind of an unsettled period through the early portion, middle portion of next week from Texas across Dixie Alley towards Georgia. And then as we finally get into later next week, we see a more formidable low pressure forming down here towards West Texas. This could bring up some warm air advection, so rainfall, and then the colder air on the backside. We could be seeing some mountain snow and heavy mountain snow perhaps into New Mexico, over here into the Texas, Oklahoma panhandle, maybe a rain snow mix there as well. And then as we go into Friday, that eventually will eject into the middle of the country, bringing snow into Kansas, Nebraska, into parts of western Iowa, rainfall as it's warmer further to the south. And we do have to watch the potential for severe weather as we round out early next week. Right now with the European model, it shows the main snow axis from New Mexico into the Texas panhandle and the Oklahoma panhandle into northwest Oklahoma, Kansas, and then up there toward Nebraska, western Iowa, and western Missouri. Let's look at the GFS, the American model guidance as we go into next week. You can see that unsettled period at times across portions from Texas eastward through the Dixie Alley and towards Georgia. That is very consistent amongst the European model and the American GFS model. So that is in high confidence Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. Thursday, the GFS, the American model, has that storm system becoming a little bit stronger, but note it's suppressed further south, and we have more of the heavy snow in southern portions of New Mexico and West Texas than the Euro model, and it's much slower of a solution, really doesn't get it up into the plains until the end of the period, really on the 1st of February. So the GFS, a lot further south, a lot more bullish on the snowfall in the mountains there of New Mexico and West Texas, including the Texas Panhandle, and maybe could bring some snow into Oklahoma City, Elk City, Lawton, those areas if the GFS model did win out for next week. We'll keep an eye on the trends for you and update you on that as it does get closer. Beyond that point, as we go into early February, this is really going to start to get the ball rolling on an active weather pattern as we go into the first week of February, taking you really through the 7 days of February there. And look at the ridge beginning to develop here across the east and the southeast. And this is the ensemble guidance to the GFS. And you can see we're seeing a cold pocket aloft up here, southwest Canada, the northwest U.S. So that tells us there's mild air out ahead of the system. While it may not be 80-degree temperatures, but it's milder than what we've been seeing, we're going to also see colder air to tap into on the back side. So any system that moves through will bring down some cold air, shifting our storm track from west to east, kind of a step down process as we go into the first week of February. There's the cold air. There's the cold air we're going to be tapping into. It's not far away. It's in southwestern Canada and the northwest United States. Some of that could bleed down again as those storm systems come through, pulling that cold air down across the plains, maybe down toward the Red River Valley. That may be a stretch, but we'll have to wait and see. If we get a strong enough storm system here, we definitely could be seeing that. Note the baroclinic zone here as well. Baroclinic zone is the temperature gradient between the mild temperatures to the east and the colder temperatures to the west. And right where that storm track will be is right over that gradient. And you can see to the east, we're seeing a lot of noise here on the ensemble guidance saying, hey, this is a very active weather pattern. We're going to be seeing multiple winter storms in the first week of February. Look at all the green on here. There's plenty of opportunity for moisture. And it's not just out east. We have a lot of moisture out west too. So the Pacific Northwest, the Intermountain West, like the Rockies, are going to start to get more moisture too in this pattern. So let's walk you through the European model. This starts on February 1st on Saturday. This is next Saturday, and you can see that is the first system that we're talking about. That's our cutoff low in California that'll eventually eject into the middle of the country. But look what's right on its heels. Another more formidable snow system, the European model, showing the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of February, and that'll move up from the plains and into the Midwest. The cold side likely to stay from Wisconsin, Iowa, back southwest towards Nebraska and Kansas. The warm side could bring some severe weather from the Ohio Valley, Tennessee Valley down toward the Gulf Coast. Something to keep an eye on. And we're not done. We got another potential system brewing even behind that toward the end of the following week. So definitely very active there. Let's look at the GFS. Same type of thing. A little bit slower of a solution. So we have more moisture further south into the Midwest to get into the 1st, 2nd of February. It kind of backs up the pattern a little bit. So instead of the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, the GFS model has more of the 4th, 5th, 6th. It's a couple days later, but it still has a formidable snow system here with the phasing of the jet streams. We got the polar jet coming down to the north, bringing down a lot of that colder air, subtropical jet from the south, phasing together, getting a bigger system together potentially by that following weekend. So that first full week in February could be very active. And let's look at the ensemble guidance for the probabilities of an inch or more of snow. And notice a lot of the upper Midwest, areas that haven't seen a lot of snow this winter, could get a very nice wallop of at least an inch of snow. Twin Cities, Green Bay, Milwaukee, La Crosse, even down toward Des Moines, maybe even Chicago, Detroit, having that, near certainty chance of seeing at least an inch of snow. Let's move it along to 3 inches worth of snow, and notice the probabilities start to go down for now. But again, we're still far out, so things can certainly change, and we'll keep you updated right here on this channel. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, folks, because you don't want to miss these winter storms. There's a lot of information coming out over the next few days as we continue to track storm by storm here, give you all the latest information. So subscribe to the channel, follow along with all my detailed, accurate weather breakdowns. Like the video, give it a thumbs up, very important. Share this video with friends, family, and on social media. Also, leave any comments, questions, concerns below, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their Friday out there.